This is Cooking at Kaleo, and tonight we're gonna make a garlic balsamic encrusted pork tenderloin with some roasted sweet potatoes and roasted broccoli. Let me tell you about the ingredients. Okay, so for our pork tenderloin, we're gonna marinate it. We're gonna use some avocado oil, some balsamic vinegar, some Dijon mustard, fresh garlic, and some salt, pepper, and garlic powder to season it. We need a pork tenderloin. These come in packs of 2, so we're gonna make 2 pork tenderloins today. Then for the sweet potatoes, we're just gonna season them with some salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and same thing for the broccoli, same seasonings. Let me tell you about the cooking supplies you need. Your biggest skillet in Lake Town. We are gonna put this on the stovetop and then put it straight in the oven. So if your skillet is oven safe, awesome, you can save yourself a dish. This guy is not, it has plastic on it. If yours has plastic anywhere, it's probably not oven safe. So if yours is like this and it's all metal, it is. But if it's not oven safe, then we're gonna transfer it into a baking dish like this to go in the oven. We're gonna line it with parchment paper to stay clean. And then to roast our veggies, we're gonna use 2 big baking sheets like this with some parchment paper to keep everything nice and clean. We're gonna start with the marinade because we want this pork tenderloin to marinate for at least 30 minutes, preferably like all day long or overnight even. So you could marinate it in the morning before you go to work and then have it ready to cook for dinner when you get home. So we're gonna start off with just 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, kind of eyeballing it, a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, 1 tablespoon of this Dijon mustard, and then salt and pepper and some minced garlic. A little sprinkle of salt, some pepper. Last ingredient going in our marinade is fresh garlic. So we're gonna use about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. I went ahead and just popped them in the microwave for 7 seconds to help them come out of their peels a little bit easier. Here's how you peel and mince this guy. So you just put your knife right on top, give it a big smash. That helps it come right out of its peel, and then you just slice it one way and then dice it the next, and then just kind of keep running your knife over it over and over again until it's really tiny. Okay, so I've got all my garlic right here. I'm just gonna kind of put my hand on top of my knife, keep running it over until it's really tiny. Okay, and then scoop it all up, put it in your marinade. It's a lot of garlic. This is a garlic balsamic encrusted pork tenderloin, so it's pretty garlicky, but it's really yummy. Okay, and then give that a quick whisk, and we'll just put our pork in this marinade and let it marinate for at least 30 minutes or overnight if you can. Move it all around in there and get it all coated. And I'm just gonna cover it with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. While your pork tenderloin is marinating in the fridge, we're gonna go ahead and prep our sweet potatoes and our broccoli. So let me talk to you guys real quick about knives. Lake Town knives, they are not very sharp. They're very dull. Dull knives are dangerous, but you can use them. You just have to be really careful. So let me show you just the difference. Cutting a sweet potato, they're a very hard vegetable, so they're very hard to cut, but you can do this. Just hold your knife back here with your thumb and forefinger. Don't put your finger on top of the knife, and then the best way to use a knife is to push down and forward while you're cutting. Push down and forward, down and forward. I mean, I'm really having to use a lot of force here to get through this guy. Down and forward, down and forward, down and forward, and then draw the knife back once it hits the board. So down and forward, draw it back, down and forward, draw it back. It's called the motion of the ocean. So you cut off a little top, get it cut side down, and then cut it in half or maybe in thirds one way, and then dice it the next way, roll the fingers under, down and forward, pull it back, down and forward, pull it back, down and forward, pull it back. Okay, y'all saw how I was struggling with that. Let me show you what it looks like with a sharper knife that I brought from home. You can buy these on Amazon. You can buy them at Walmart. Any just sharper knife than a Lake Town knife is probably gonna be safer. But big knife, I go down and forward, get straight through it just like that. Cut side down, slice it in thirds, fingers rolled under, and then dice it into about 1-inch chunks. Okay, once you've got all your sweet potatoes cut up, we're gonna just season it with some avocado oil. We're gonna go ahead and season the broccoli too while I got this. Broccoli with avocado oil, salt. Good sprinkle of salt on that broccoli. It's pretty bland. Pepper. And then I love garlic powder on my sweet potatoes and my broccoli. If you're not a garlic fan, leave it off. No big deal. It's totally optional. And then on your broccoli florets, if they are huge like this, just go ahead and break them up a little bit. Sometimes they just come in different sizes. We're looking for about that size or smaller. That way everything cooks evenly. Then just toss all of the veggies to coat on separate pans. Oh, you'll notice I'm using parchment paper again. I love parchment paper. It keeps food from sticking, and it also keeps you from having to clean up your pans. I'm all about low cleanup. So once those are tossed to coat, we're gonna just pop them in a 400-degree oven for about 25 minutes for the sweet potatoes and only about 15 minutes for the broccoli. Pork tenderloin is out of the fridge and we are ready to cook it. So I just put a few swirls, about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil into my biggest skillet at Laketown, and then I turn the heat to a 6 on my oven. It's about medium high, so about 6 is where you want it. We want to let the pan get nice and hot with that oil in it, and then just drop your tenderloins in the pan. You hear the sizzle? That's what you're looking for. We want it to sizzle like that. This is called searing for 4 minutes on each side. Our pork has been searing on this side for about 4 minutes. Let me show you guys what we're looking for here. Nice browning happening. So just turn it to the other side. We're gonna go 4 minutes on this side. And then we are gonna transfer it to our glass baking dish and put it in the oven to finish off for about 20 minutes at 400 degrees. Okay, our pork is nice and seared on all sides, so I'm just gonna move it into our parchment paper lined baking dish to put it in the oven. And you wanna get all of these yummy brown juices that have kind of collected in the pan. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the leftovers of our marinade and just put them in the pan. And then we're gonna kind of scrape the pan and get all the little yummy brown pieces. That gives it a lot of flavor, so you don't wanna leave those out. Scrape, 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 scrape. And then pour that over our pork. And then we're gonna put it in the oven for about 20 minutes at 400. We just got our pork in the oven. We're gonna go ahead and put the sweet potatoes in at the same time, but we're gonna wait a little bit for the broccoli. The broccoli only needs to cook for about 15 minutes. Our sweet potatoes and our pork tenderloin have been in the oven for about 15 minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and add the broccoli now to finish off for the last 10 or 15 minutes. Our pork has been in the oven for about 20 minutes, so I took it out of the oven and I put it on a cutting board and put some foil over it because it's really important to rest this before you slice it. We wanna rest meats, pork and steak mostly, things that are really thick, for about 10 minutes at least before slicing and serving. So the potatoes and broccoli are still in the oven finishing off. This is resting, and in about 10 minutes we're gonna slice it. Everything is out of the oven and it looks so good. The broccoli is just a little bit brown. That's what I like with roasted broccoli. It's still a little bit crisp, but still a little tender. It's so yummy. The sweet potatoes are nice and crispy. They're so yummy. And the pork has been resting on our cutting board for 10 minutes. It's important to rest your meat because when you cook it, all the juices heat up, and if you cut it right away, all of that moisture will be released as steam and your meat will be really dry. So we've been resting it under foil to keep it warm, but let all those juices redistribute. So now it's time to slice and serve. So I like to slice this pulled pork, or pork tenderloin, sorry, in about 1-inch rounds. So just slice it, push your knife down and forward. Again, if you're using those Laketown knives, good luck. So this is what we want it to look like. Just a 1-inch round. This is called a pork medallion. About like that. I hope you guys enjoy this yummy, very healthy meal, and we'll see you next time on Cookin' at Kaleo.